there will be some people listening to this that haven't listened to previous podcasts. They haven't heard about Bitcoin before. They've got all their money tied up in a mortgage with one of the registered banks. Right. And so they've never thought about putting money into Bitcoin or whatever is happening for these other people that are now online saying, yeah, I told you so, and this is great, and I always knew it was going to be this price, and I'm awesome. So
I've seen a few of those as well. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
What is Bitcoin to start with?
Sure. There's so many different
Oh my God, that is
right?
such a gigantic question.
Yeah. One of the versions, and this is an old version, but one of the versions would be it's digital money for the digital world. It's more than that, though, and I think Bitcoin has probably been one of those things that has shown us what it is rather than behaved in a way that we wanted it to be. And if you go way back, 2008, 2009, I think it was, when this fictional character, Satoshi Nakamoto, wrote this white paper, which basically was the whole thing. The idea was that it was an electronic peer-to-peer cash system. So the idea was that we would be able to exchange a form of money over the internet without any intermediaries, just directly using an app on our phone. And it does do that. That's exactly what it does. But it seems like it's taken on a bit of a life of its own, because effectively this code that I just imagine this code just hangs in the universe. This blockchain called Bitcoin is just hanging on the internet there, and it exists. It's out there in the wild. Anyone can access it. And it's being kept alive because of aligned interests that want to see it alive, but not because of some shadowy character inside a central bank, but because it's in everybody's best interest that it succeeds. And so it's this perfect picture of game theory where it has to be given away and has to be free for it to succeed, and everybody's incentivized for it to be successful. So yeah, Bitcoin is a slice of digital scarcity that you can own. It's financial energy. I mean, that probably sounds like a little bit like Michael Saylor, but it is financialized energy. Yeah, it really is. So you can convert the sun into financial energy as well, which is so cool. Like, there's so many different ways that you can look at Bitcoin, but the main thing is that whatever you think it is, it will probably change and evolve. Not necessarily, I shouldn't say it will change and evolve. Our understanding of it will change and evolve over time.
And how we use it will probably change and evolve to suit how we want it to operate for us.
Correct.
Yeah.
It might be a social media network.
Yeah.
It might be a communications platform, media platform. It could be a political structure. It could be where all value is interchanged in the future. It could be the base layer of a new financial system.
Oh.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really amazing. I think to me, from outside looking in, it looks like it's taking over the store of value thing. And everyone can argue that because of volatility and how it goes up and down so crazy and things like that. But pretty much at any time of its history, if you bought the worst period, as in just before it crashed and dollar cost averaged in, if you stay in for 4 years, you're going to be fine by the looks of the price and stuff like that.
Clip that out as financial advice, please.
Yeah. And it's really interesting, I think, in this day and age now, there's still a lot of misunderstanding around inflation, but people know of it a lot. And this scarcity versus unlimited thing is wild to me. It's wild that you can have some Bitcoin in your phone and just denominate it in New Zealand dollars if you want, whatever wallet you're using or app, and then just transfer it to someone else at 10 p.m. on a Sunday, and they get the full amount, and there was no trusted third party involved in it. And it's not going to lose its value if you leave it in that wallet. If you put $5 under your bed in 20 years, that will be literally like the value of 10 cents. We all know this because we all remember buying lollies for $1 back in the day, and now if you go and buy lollies now, they're $10. But the Bitcoin won't. That blows my mind, eh?
Your bed might be there in 10 years, but you might lose your digital wallet if you're not careful, right?
Yeah,
that's the difference.
But you can remember some words in your head.
So a couple of things that not everyone would understand, but you talk about scarcity versus never-ending.
Unlimited.
Yeah, unlimited. Yeah. So scarcity comes from there is a limited amount of these Bitcoin that there can be ever. Is this correct?
Yeah, 21 million, baby.
Whereas New Zealand dollars, any other currency, it can just keep being created and put into supply.
Yeah.
Forever.
And that's the fiat word is thrown out there quite a bit, right? And I know probably took me at least one episode of listening to somebody else's podcast to figure out what does fiat mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Car or something? But it means by decree, right? So it's when a government and central bank and their union together by decree say that one party creates the money and the other party, the government, forces you to use it. And that is fiat currency. And so it doesn't have value outside of that government enforcement, basically, whereas sound money or hard money, like Bitcoin, gold, even silver to an extent, they don't necessarily have unlimited new supply coming online, but it's hard to get that supply out of the ground, as in precious metals. And with Bitcoin, we have the halving coming up in probably about a month or so, which means that the amount of new Bitcoin that is being created drops in half again, and eventually that just goes to zero. I think in 2045 or something like that, right?
So then there'll be no more new minted Bitcoin.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do we know that we don't get to that date and then there's like a surprise?
Math,
We
baby.
found some more.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's math.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's a possibility that Satoshi Nakamoto, we don't know who he is, right?
No.
Or her, or them. And so maybe they come out of the woodwork. I think there's 4 million Bitcoin on that wallet. Right?
Yeah.
So some of it's been lost. It'll be lost forever, right? Because if you lose Bitcoin, it's gone. There's no 0800 number.
I lost some of mine in Vegas, yeah. And Celsius.
Didn't you lose on Celsius?
Oh, yeah, same here. Yeah, I lost some in Celsius. And the rest of it in a boating accident, of course.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. Okay. I'll tell you my Vegas story later on. It's expensive.
Right.
Okay. So fiat by decree, because one thing I'd written down here is Mike was just saying before, it's a little bit of that store of value piece, right? So I think more people are learning that our money's becoming worth less. And so people are chasing something that's going to hold value. And Bitcoin is being seen as that because more people have learned about inflation probably in our generation in the last 3 years than ever before.
Yeah, I think if you struggle to wrap your head around that, you need to flip around a few things that you're used to saying, oh, this is getting expensive, or the price is just going up. Oh, I made money on my house. If you look around at everything and you zoom out and you go and you start looking at stuff that has gone up in value, generally, a lot of the stuff that has outperformed like the cost of our consumer stuff, like food or whatever, that stuff still inflates, but the stuff that outstrips it is the stuff that's scarce.
Land, exactly. Probably easiest for Kiwis to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even, you can say that shares in a company are not scarce because they can dilute them and blah, blah, blah. But Google is only one Google. So having a gigantic monopoly over the internet is scarce. So it becomes a store of value in itself.
Yeah.
And all of these things end up having, I think, the store of value premium built into them by us subconsciously because we know we can't put our money in a savings account. Because it just gets debased and you never know when they're going to do it. We can't predict economic cycles, but there's 120 years of history of them
Well,
ruining it.